Well, good afternoon. I'm Allison Lundergan-Grimes, Kentucky's Secretary of State, and I want to thank everybody for coming to the 15th and final roundtable for our Civic Health Initiative. It is really exciting to be here in Pike County, the largest county in Kentucky, with one of my favorite governors and with the distinguished panelists that are here with us today. We are pleased to have several students that are here in the room with us, and if you are a student here at UPIKE, would you mind to stand so that we can give you a round of applause and thank you for joining us? I want to thank you all especially for what I know you will contribute to today's discussion, which I'm hoping you will help to make very lively. As I had the opportunity to introduce myself and say hello to those of you that are in the room, especially the students, I got to interact and hear their stories. They are excelling not only in the classroom, but as well in student government, out in the community. They are the best of the best here in the Commonwealth. But I will tell you, this is the exception. This does not translate across the entire state, as this report shows. The Civic Health Index is the first of its kind. We released in my office at the beginning of last year when I took office as Secretary of State. It is, as I like to call it, a benchmark for where the state is, a barometer for what we are doing right and where we are ailing. It looks at three categories, which we will discuss here today. The first of which is political action. Are people registering to vote? Are they translating that registration into participation on Election Day? And are they staying in touch with their elected officials after the fact? The second category that it looks at is social connectedness. Are people involved and engaged enough, not just in their own personal lives, but in the public life of their community, of their county, of the state, of this nation? Do they know who their neighbor is? Are they going out and helping their neighbors? The third category, community engagement. I think that is something that we can all understand in terms of how it helps to move this state in the right direction. Are people giving of their time to organizations, to being a member and a part of, and most importantly, are they giving of the treasures in their pockets to help those organizations in their public causes? What this report shows, and I hope that everybody will take a copy with them today as they leave, or better yet, be green and find it on our website at sos.ky.gov. It shows some great things. We are above the national average in terms of voter registration, in terms of voter participation. We are, and I think this is due to a lot of the good cooking that our grandmothers and my mother have provided. My husband will tell you it's not my cooking. I'm way better with the microwave than I am with the pots and pans. But we are third in the nation in terms of families sitting down and frequently eating dinner together. That's a great and very unique thing about being here in Kentucky. We are, though, ailing in terms of our community engagement. We are in the bottom quarter in terms of people actually belonging to a group. Below the national average and in the bottom quarter in terms of people actually being a part of an organization bigger and better than themselves. We are below the national average in terms of people actually giving of their time and their treasures as well. These are areas, these are gaps that I hope with the discussion that we will have here today, with the 14 discussions that have preceded this one today, we will able to bridge those gaps. Immediately within 24 hours of November's general election, Governor, we launched the roundtables that you see here today. We have been all across the Commonwealth on Kentucky's colleges and campus universities. We have had some great and lively discussions. And most importantly, the rule that we have set forth on those prior to this, and I hope that we'll adhere to today, is more talking from you, more listening on this end. That's what these are about. It's about getting your feedback so that we can truly make sure that all Kentuckians have an opportunity to be meaningfully engaged in all of these areas, from political action to being socially connected to community engagement. And with that, I think it would be great if we could introduce the distinguished panelists that we have here today. And we will begin to my left, your right, with Kay. And if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself for the audience members and why you're here today. And I think Juanita has jumped in, so Kay, you are relieved. Juanita, we will start with you.
Hi, I'm Juanita Deskins. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Pikeville Medical Center.
My name is Kay Hammond, and I'm the Executive Director of the Appalachian Pregnancy Care Center.
I'm Danny Van Hoos. I'm Director of Marketing for Appalachian Wireless.
Judge Rutherford, Pike County Judge Executive.
Jared Arnett, President and CEO of the Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce.
Leslie Combs, State Representative, 94th District.
James Hurley, University of Pikeville President-elect.
Paul Patton, President of the University of Pikeville.
Christian Tyler Markham, a junior at University of Pikeville in biology and chemistry.
I'm Wes Farmer. I'm a senior at University of Pikeville.
Rob Music, University Chaplain at UPIKE.
Donovan Blackford, the City Manager for the City of Pikeville.
So we have found in these roundtables that there is never enough time, even though we try to allot an hour, to get all of the comments, all of the questions, all of the concerns in. And you'll notice on the chairs where you found your seat today, there is something that we will hope, and it is our hope, that it will allow us to stay in touch, that this is not the end of the discussion, but rather the beginning. And if you could leave us that information on the front of the card, but most importantly, on the back side of the card. I hope that no one returns a card to Matthew Daly, who's right here in the front, on the back that's blank. I hope that you will leave us with your thoughts. Two thoughts. First, what do you think is going right here in the state in any of these three categories? And two, what do you think we need to work on in this community, in the state, in any of these three categories? Your comments, your feedback are going to formulate the report and comments and suggestions that I'm going to present to our able legislature when they reconvene in January, or if by chance the governor calls a special session sooner than that date. I know that Representative is probably aware of that. So let's start in the reverse order. Community engagement. This report shows that community engagement, it's been on the decline since 2005. That's when Kentucky peaked. For the panelists that are here and those in the room that have grabbed a report, if you turn to page 14, you will see on the left-hand side, 31.7%. That's the level of volunteering that was actually the highest here in Kentucky. When was that? Was it last year? Was it this year? Was it the year before? No, it was back in 2005. Ever since then, Kentucky has just been on a downward spiral decline. 25 to 44-year-olds, those are college-age graduates who are right now volunteering above the state level. We all know what the benefits are of volunteering, of having people being engaged in the community. It especially helps with keeping unemployment at a very low level. So, Governor, I know that you have been very aggressive and active all across the state, and especially here at UPIKE, with making sure that Kentuckians have access to education. And one factor that this report shows is that education plays a key in terms of whether someone will be engaged in their community, whether they'll be socially connected, whether they will be politically active. In your view, are things going right here in Pike County, across the state? What do we need to do to turn this statistic around?
Well, we do need to do exactly what you're doing to remind people that it's up to us to build the kind of community that we want. Now, I'm a big believer in government, been there 22 years. Government can build the framework where we can build a good community, but it's up to us to do it. It is not enough to say, I pay my taxes, I expect the government to do all these things that I want my community to be. We have to get involved in government and in extra government activities to create the kind of community that we want to live, work, and raise a family in. And I hope these students understand that. It's not enough to complain. Get involved in government and extra government activities on behalf of your community.
So we have, to your right, Governor, two students who I think are part of several honor societies. It's not enough just to be part of one honor society. I looked at their resumes. They talk about the future of where Frankfort's going to be headed, hopefully. numerous honor societies that are engaged in philanthropic activities. So, Christian and Wes, from your perspective,
Now, this is one of our most active Democrats, and this is one of our most active. They're both pretty sharp, I'll tell you.
we have bipartisan representation here today, as always, on the panel. Wes and Christian, respectively, what is UPIKE doing to engage its students, and is it working?
Well, they have Paul Patton as the president. We have events. Rob Music definitely coordinates a lot of events. I spoke at a 9/11 remembrance.
It's hard to hear about you.
Oh, I spoke at a...
Will this help?
Let's do this, guys. We have a portable microphone that we'll
okay.
pass as well, and perhaps, I don't know that will be amplified for the room, but
It won't,
at
but
least
if you'll
will for
speak
the
up a little
TV.
bit,
Okay.
the TV will hear you.
Like I said, Rob Music coordinates a lot of events around here. I spoke at a 9/11 remembrance ceremony. I've participated in the Washington Center, which is a seminar program, and it has internship programs in Washington, D.C., usually for about 2 weeks, or the internship program is for a whole semester. And Dr. Nancy Cade coordinates that, and it's a really good program for anybody interested in how it really happens in Washington, D.C. And you don't have to be a political science major or a history major. You can be just anyone interested in it.
Christian?
Well, I'll reiterate what Wes said. Having Governor Patton as our president has really, helped encourage the level of civic involvement here at the university. I know that Dr. Hurley will continue to encourage that. And as far as what the university does, President Patton has held for the last couple of years what he called like a presidential political roundtable. And Wes and I were both involved with that. And I think we had one faculty member from each side. Basically, we just got together and discussed the current issues that our nation was facing locally and at the national level. And that's one big step that we've taken towards getting students involved. And everybody was invited to that. As far as each department, they each have their own outreach. Biology department has the biology club, which does different volunteer work. Chemistry, we do research, and we're partnering with different individuals from different states even. And so at the university, we're really making great strides towards getting students involved. And we can still do more, but we're really, under Governor Patton, has really increased.
We established what we call the President's Political Roundtable, I think. They both participate. I asked for the 6 most active Democrats on campus and the 6 most active Republicans on campus. And I thought that we Democrats could convert those Republicans. With Les and a couple more, I think we lost that battle. It was a good experience.
So let's look at it from not just the college perspective, but from the county and the city perspective. Judge Rutherford and Donovan, what is the county and the city doing, respectively, to get its citizens, not just students, but citizens engaged?
Madam Secretary of State, I welcome this opportunity, and I think this television camera from PIKE TV has changed this county. There's no doubt about that. It was in the county and the University of Pikeville. We have other stakeholders, which is Pikeville Medical Center and the city school system. And those programs that they have, more people are getting involved. We are the largest county in the Commonwealth, about 8th in population, but we're now getting involved. About the city of Pikeville, very progressive city, the county very progressive, but we're able to get more people involved in government. And we have just started a health initiative that everybody that we're going to involve. The list is the Pike County Government, the Health Department, Extension Office, Pikeville Medical Center, the County Board of Education, City Board, University of Pikeville, Big Sandy Community College, and it's going to be a health initiative countywide where we would go, and we are just now getting organized in that, but involving people, and that is something we have to do. I liked when she gave those 3, and I was real interested in that. Said political action, naturally, being in the office, but this one here is one that I think that PIKE TV has really, and Governor Patton, I know he's chairman of the board, and he said that In about 5 years, we will have a professional station. Folks, we have a professional station today. And we try to honor people that does things out in the community, in the county, and in the city. And we don't agree with everything with everybody in the city and everything, but we work together, Donovan, and we talk things out and we move on and get things done and involve people. I've always heard Governor Patton to say, and he said it very well when he opened, that government is people, and government involvement by people is what makes government work. Thank you for coming to Pikeville and Pike County,
Well, I'm glad to
Madam
be here.
Secretary.
So, Donovan, do you all have a similar approach at the city level?
Madam Secretary, absolutely. And I'll echo the first thing that the judge just said was Pike TV has been a tremendous benefit for the community, but it goes beyond just having a station here. It's the partnership that was formed to create the station between the university, the county, the city, the schools, the hospital, and there's a few other entities on the board that have all come together creating a voice for the city, the county, and the region. From the city's perspective, we've done a few other things along with partnerships. One of the things that the City Commission does to engage our youth is each meeting we try to bring, especially the high school and elementary, into providing proclamations for accomplishments. And it does two things. Not only acknowledges whether it's athletics or education, but it engages a whole group of bringing them before city government, allowing them to hear what's going on. So that's been a very good project for us. The other thing that we recently did, and this is actually the first year that we've done this, is the city by statute is required every 5 years to complete a comprehensive plan. And this was the first year that we actually invited the Generation X factor in to participate as part of the plan. We brought in 4 seniors and 4 juniors from Pikeville High School. We let them represent their entire student body to talk about the things that they want to see their community move forward, and giving them a voice over the next 5 years of where we need to go with our planning. So that has been a tremendous success. We met with them on 3 separate occasions. They went back and met with their student body, so that's been a major benefit. And I, looking at this report, which has a lot of valuable information of the amount of time that people are spending at home or spending in front of the television, and the kids on the internet. So we, of course, the county and the city both have a great Facebook and website services that we're engaging. I challenged my director of tourism to generate over 10,000 likes this year, and he had done it 2 months ago already. So we've really done a great job with that. And then a lot of our community partners, the reason I believe Pikeville is so successful is because we do have partnerships like I'm just talking about. We have a lot of organizations, whether I just wrote down a few, Main Street Artisan Center Alliance, Jenny Wiley Theater, the ACT, Muscle on Main, Unite, Pride. Those are just organizations that are all volunteer-based that are really active and very involved in the community and have created a lot of events. The city park, for example, in 2004, we had 12 events scheduled in the park that year. This year, we had close to 400 events. So the community, and most of that is done through the community volunteering base. So people are getting involved in government. They're seeing it on TV. They're volunteering their time. There's always room for improvements. And Madam Secretary, we're glad you're here to bring this to heighten this awareness, because we do need more and more in order to allow us to continue the path that we're traveling. So we appreciate it.
So now, do you want to plug that Facebook page so that we can get all of the students that are here to increase that 10,000 number?
Absolutely. Yeah, www.visitpikeville.com or tourpikecounty.com. Either one, we want you on. And the www.cityofpikeville is the city's webpage. They're all interchangeable.
So I will tell you this. The meeting that we're having here today, the meetings that have led up to this, the 14 others that we've had across the state, they've not just been centralized to the region. We have actually put that message of the comments from our panelists, the comments from our citizen participants all over the web and all over Twitter. You can find us conveniently. This big old poster back here has hopefully some good information for you on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we have live tweeted every single one of these roundtables so that we are literally making sure that Kentuckians from Pike County are reaching all the way over to Paducah today and getting the feedback. So I can attest to you the ability to connect people, and that's one of the conversations that we will, when we talk about social connectedness, is get to. And I think we have some technology experts on our panel that are going to speak about whether technology has really increased or decreased our ability to connect. So for the students that are here in this room, Matt has a microphone that he's going to be coming to see each of you with. This report shows that those that are 18 to 29 years old are more likely to volunteer today than they were last year or in years prior. You heard the governor talk about service learning that's here at Pike County. Are you volunteering? And this is not just relegated to the students, but I would love to hear from the students. Are you volunteering? If so, where and why? What keeps you motivated? And I know we've got some Delta Alpha brothers that are here in the house that are eager to speak up. Yes, sir.
One thing I would like to say is, I think what has helped us is the opportunity to be able to go forth and do these things. The University of Pikeville has created a lot of avenues to do that, and one of the which that the Delta Alpha Lambda has done to reach out to the community is last semester we had a Thanksgiving food drive for West Care Homeless Shelter downtown here, and we raised over $2,000 worth of goods for that, and it kind of shocked us, and just to see the look on the residents' face and how much we were getting involved with the community, it kind of gave us a connection to Pikeville and gave us a sense of establishment and kind of sparked our interest in this. So what we want to see is getting more people from the University of Pikeville involved, and I think it's great, like I said earlier, that Governor Patton and James Hurley and Rob Music, what they are doing at the University of Pikeville to create avenues for community involvement and volunteerism.
Would you mind sharing your name with us again?
My name is Gabriel Carrillo, and I'm the president of the Delta Alpha Lambda fraternity at the University of Pikeville.
Well, Gabriel, we got to give you a round of applause. Thank you for stepping up to be a leader. And for the work that I know the fraternity is doing. So guys that are here in the front row, you're going to get picked on a little bit. Are you volunteering? And if so, why? Not at the moment, but you might after this. Okay. Other students that are here in the audience with us that we need to hear from. Are you volunteering? If so, why? Yes, sir. I think we're already making connections for volunteerism in the front row.
What I wanted to bring up isn't particularly about why people or what people are doing to volunteer, but I'm in a situation to where I've experienced two different campuses. I was at the University of Kentucky last year. And at the University of Kentucky, as much as I didn't care for the campus just personally, every moment there was something else going on. You knew what was going on in city council because there were posters placed everywhere. I don't see that around here. Being completely honest, I don't see a whole lot of political rallying. I don't see a lot of involvement going on. There may be a whole lot in the school, but just having students who may or may not be from this area isn't enough. I think a lot of times in this area, volunteer work is relegated mainly to churches. If you're going to do something in this area, you're going to do it with your church. That's the nature of the mountains around here. So really, I think volunteer work needs to find a way to go beyond that and find people, or rather find connections with people that's beyond the church, that's beyond their small community. Because if it doesn't, why should they? They're already giving their time at their church. They're already having so much time with their family. It's more important to be with your family or your church than to help your community. There needs to be some sort of spurring on for people to actually care.
Tell us your name.
Christopher Blaine Vance.
Christopher, thank you very much for offering your thoughts and comments. One thing that I hear you saying is the ability to volunteer it's hindered because there's not a lot of awareness or discussion about the opportunities that are out there, and maybe these fine young gentlemen in the front row just demonstrated that for us. Is that fair to summarize your comment?
Yes, I would agree, and a lot of it would also be the fact that, you know, you hear don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics around here. Don't do it, because it's not a balanced discussion, or at least from my experience. There needs to be a whole lot more bipartisan ideas. There needs to be a whole lot more acceptance of those type of discussions, and I don't see that.
Thank you very much for your comments. Others that are here in the audience, are you volunteering? Is there awareness out there, or how did you find out about where you're volunteering? And this isn't just relegated to the students. For the adults that are here in this room, we want to hear from you. Right here in the front row, handing out some cards.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Well,
You mind stand up and tell us your name?
well, I'm Barry Cheney, City Commissioner, and most of the time my volunteering starts with my own initiatives to change the situation in the community. And you know, I've run into some of those problems that it's hard to find somebody that will get on board with you. But you know, you can't give up. You just got to keep pushing your issue. You've got to keep finding people that will get on board, and eventually you will find somebody. And you know, it is kind of taboo to talk about politics, but we do have to have a discussion about our politics. And you know, we have to have a discussion about where our future is going. What hot button issues do divide us? What unites us? How do we need to diversify? Governor Patton gave us an example when he was county judge, lieutenant governor, and governor, that we need to diversify our economy in eastern Kentucky to provide opportunity for our young people, to grow upward mobility in their job creation. So I think that to get people motivated, you've got to be motivated. And you've got to go in the community and find those people that are willing to work with you to build a better Pike County, a better Pikeville.
That's a great segue into, I think, a business, a true leader here in Pike County, which is Pike Medical Center. You guys were rated, Juanita, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the best places to work in Kentucky across the state. How many employees do you have, and what are you doing to keep them excited and engaged about being there to work, and how are they involved in the community?
There's many different factions, Madam Secretary, that Pikeville Medical Center does to get involved in the community. We are number one employer in Pike County, the largest employer. We have over 2,300 employees. We have initiatives going on all the time to involve our employees in health awareness for our community. We do free health screenings. And something that I thought was just interesting that our student just made a comment about is volunteerism. We have over 300 students that volunteer at the hospital. That starts at the high school level and also at the college level. Our employees are involved in their national societies because we have many different professionals that are represented at the hospital. So we have nurses, we have doctors, we have technicians, we have IT people, and all of those individuals are involved in their own professional societies, which they serve on those boards. Myself, I'm involved in the statewide Chamber of Commerce. We have other individuals at the hospital who is also involved in the Regional Chamber of Commerce. And again, we have all these partnerships with the city, with the county, and even UPIKE. We do a lot of initiatives with UPIKE. We've got medical students, we have nursing students. Out of that, we don't only include, they don't just come and get their education and do their clinicals and various things at the hospital. They also do volunteer. And they also are doing free health screenings. They get involved with that. They team up with our leaders. Our employees are involved on a daily basis with our community. We go out to high schools, we go out to different civic organizations that we're involved in, like Rotary Club, Kiwanis, and various other things. So to continue to keep the momentum going with our employees, it's continuously communicating these opportunities and making sure our employees understand it's their inner self, that they have to get involved and take ownership of that and be part of their community, and that's where they get their satisfaction, by that involvement and what it means to them.
So Juanita, if there is anybody here that wasn't aware that they could volunteer with the Pike Medical community, how do they do that? Who do they reach out to? Can you give them some information how to do that?
Volunteer department. Just contact the telephone numbers 218 3500 and ask for Dana King, and I'm sure she can have you started within a week or two out there doing whichever interest that you may have, because we have, and really during the spring and summer is one of our peak times for volunteerism.
And over 300 students volunteering?
Not just students, we have adult
volunteers. 300 volunteers. That's wonderful.
Yes, and we do a celebration every year. Most of the time it's been in April, but we've moved it to June this year so that we truly can honor those volunteers.
Do you have a date set yet that we can help publicize for you? Or follow you on the website? And
Follow me on the website.
All right, we can do that. So, Jared Arnett, Chamber of Commerce, what are businesses across Kentucky, not just here in UPIKE, or if you want to focus on UPIKE, doing to keep their employees motivated and to engage the community like Juanita just described?
I think it comes down to one of our values at the Chamber is service. And looking back over my career, my past, I can remember the time that I was in positions and I was thinking, I would see the things on TV, and then you try to figure out how do you transition from just seeing and hearing about it and understanding it to how do I affect it. And my tenure at the Chamber has been a great lesson for me. It's been a great opportunity for me to see how that happens and how it affects. And I'm close to 10 years removed from college, not far from where some of our panelists are. And I think from that point to how do you get engaged and how do you see what's going on in the community and not just know what's going on, but how do I affect it? And the Chamber's doing a lot of things. And Chambers of Commerce, that's essentially part of their strategic plan and why they exist. So we have multiple programs that do that. We have a Leadership Southeast Kentucky program where our local businesses, they submit some of their employees or managers or new managers, and we take time and we visit each of the 8 counties in eastern Kentucky. We talk about lots of the different important topics: economic development, education, health care. Bring in local speakers from the hospital hosts us for a session. So they get to understand in detail those issues, and we also bring other organizations in that they can volunteer in and learn about what they're doing. We also do town hall forums where we bring local elected leaders. We do one with our state representatives, our state senators, and whatever the topic or issue is, we bring that out as a public forum and let our members, let the public come out and talk and discuss. Our committee structure is another way that businesses get involved. We have an economic development committee, we have an education committee, we have committees for different events that we do. We have lots of volunteers that come out and get involved. So throughout the year, I'd say we touch probably 150 to 200 different volunteers and the different things that we do. And that's how we accomplish what we do with a staff of 5. And that's with our volunteers. So as far as we go, we're a membership-driven organization. That's how we exist, and that's grown. Our volunteers have grown, and it's great to see the desire they have to get involved and affect their community.
So if someone here, especially the students that are here, I'm sorry guys, you sit in the front row. If they're here and they are interested in possibly being participants in this Leadership Southeast program, can you tell people how to do that?
If you're a student, we actually provide 1 seat on that from University of Pikeville for free each year.
There's hope, guys. 1 seat.
Right. So
we have to fight between the two of you, but we can do it.
So that's one way to get involved. But also, once you get into the workforce in whatever company you're working for, most likely they will be a member of the Chamber. You just mention to your manager that you'd like to get involved and put your name in. Usually each company submits 1 to 2. Okay. So if you want to get involved, it's all about asking questions, making a phone call. That's what I like to tell people. If you want to know, if you want to find something out, you got to take it upon yourself to dig and find it. So,
intentional acts, that's something that we've heard over and over again. It has to be an intentional act, whether we're talking about being involved through community service work or we're talking about actually connecting. And that's, I want to switch to social connectedness. That's one of the categories looked at in this report. And I think we heard some great comments from those here in the audience about the ability to truly connect and how people are connecting through their churches. This report says that 3 million Americans, or 34%, are volunteering through religious organizations. Robert, chaplain here on campus, you believe in being a global servant. Is that translating here on campus? Is that statistic a reality here, that people are indeed volunteering through religious organizations?
Absolutely. I think it's kind of the heart of who we are as a people in the mountains. But beyond that, I mean, we just see over and over and over how our spirituality impacts our commitment to going. In January, we took a trip to Haiti, took 16 students. We actually have a student here who went on that trip. And all the students many of our students who are speaking up and are involved, you're going to find out their original passion and the reason why they're stirred is because of their faith commitment. And I think that's one of the things about the University of Pikeville is that we are a Christian school. And what we do comes from that heart of Jesus. And we're seeing many students move out. We have compassion projects coming from this school. Students are involved. I'll give you a good example. Even softball, which seems right, not very religious. Our coaches committed to, they did a food drive, took out the girls to do a food drive. So you kind of see that throughout the university. And I think it really comes from our students' commitment to the Lord first.
So religion being able to connect people and bring them together to move beyond their TV and the world of internet and isolation that sometimes comes with that to really do better and good things for the community at large.
And I think that one of the lies about our generation and our students is this idea of apathy, which I think is really a lie, because when we give students a grander vision, something larger than them, a sense of mission, they want something to die for. They want something to move forward. And when we give that to them, I think we're finding great results.
So you mentioned, Robert, your trip to Haiti. Do you mind to call out your student that's here?
She's going to kill me later, but Sarah, you can see Sarah, you could talk to her about it later if you wanted. She's great one-on-one, but she went with us in January to Haiti.
So Sarah, can you just offer up why you went, and do you think you'll do it again?
I plan on going next January.
Next January? Yes, ma'am. And would you mind standing up and tell us what motivated you to go in the first place?
Well, I heard about it originally, and it was never something that I contemplated doing. But I talked to Rob about it, and I decided it was something that I was really interested in doing, and I'll never regret it. It was amazing. I'm also on the softball team, and I was a part of that community involvement as well. Haiti was amazing.
Transformative experience.
Yes, ma'am.
That will keep you involved in future activities, whether it's traveling or here locally.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely.
Well, thank you. We all got to give Sarah a round of applause. We're excited about that. So, this report says that there's, in this digital age that we have, there's a risk of isolation for those that are above age 65, that are African American, and those that haven't obtained higher than a high school degree. We have people on this panel that are working to reach out and to make sure that people don't feel isolated. And I think it might be wise to turn to Kay Hammond and to talk about the work that you are doing. And I know that your husband, your family, is one that is involved in ministry work as well. Is this something that Pike County sees, and these three factors? And if so, what are you working or doing to combat it?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because what we do at the Appalachian Pregnancy Care Center is that we do reach out to a different group, I guess you might say, a different group of citizens. And it is a group of young ladies and young men that experience unplanned pregnancy. And we try to make a difference in their life. And a lot of times there's a lot of shame with what's going on with them. There's a lot of confusion. And really, they need direction. A lot of times there's not family support. And I guess you might say that the Appalachian Pregnancy Care Center, we are there to give them the support that they need. And I was just thinking, as I was looking around the room that all of you people, and I know quite a few of you, and when you think about the students, we've talked about the University of Pikeville students, and about volunteering. Just last night, some of the medical students gave our clients a dinner. And that they embrace our clients every year with giving them a dinner. And the girls love that. And so that was a part of volunteering. But I think that everybody, I try to involve in people with volunteering with us. I try to involve everybody, your businesses, your community, your schools. We even have a school that does their baby bottle drive. And I think people want to know that their drop in the bucket counts. And they want to know that the actions that they do is going to impact people. I do. And so that's what we try to do with the Pregnancy Care Center. And we try to get these girls involved. And I know this Scholar House, me and President-elect James Hurley did a presentation on the Scholar House last Thursday at the East Kentucky Leadership. And this is going to impact our community. And I think this is something that you can certainly know that your drop in the bucket is going to count, because it's going to change lives for young men and young women. As a matter of fact, when we presented about the Scholar House, a young lady, she was an African American, she stood up and she said, I lived in the Scholar House in Louisville at the university. And she said, me and my child lived there for 4 years. Had it not been for that Scholar House, I would not have graduated from college, but she is now a professor at that school. And that just touched me. But I do think that people want an opportunity to solve problems. And we do know that unplanned pregnancy, and it stifles an education. It stifles education. But we're doing something about it, and I'm involving everybody that I know to involve, and I'm going everywhere I know to go, and I belong to a lot of clubs. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what my husband said, then I'm going to be quiet. But he said, Kay, when you pass away, now that's not very pleasant. He said, but they're going to say the cause of death, she was clubbed to death. That's not good. That's not good. But I just believe in that. And I also want to add, too, that I am the president of the Alumni Association at the University of Pikeville. And I've had a lot of contacts with the University of Pikeville. But Secretary of State, we're just so proud to have you here today, and I thank you.
Thank you. President-elect, do you want to talk about the Scholar House?
I do.
Because I don't know that everybody here knows about the Scholar House.
Yes, well, and again, it goes back to a collegial approach, and we would not have been able to offer the Scholar House without the partners at this table. The hospital has representation. Judge Rutherford, myself, Governor Patton, and Donovan took a very early trip to the University of Louisville to explore this initiative. And what the Scholar House is, it's an opportunity to provide an educational opportunity with a housing component. And a lot of folks see this as a housing initiative, and that's totally opposite of the intent. In our region, we have 2 particular high schools that rank among the top 10 in the teenage pregnancy rate for the United States, and that's concerning. One here in Pike County, one a contiguous county. So it's concerning, and so we need to, if we're going to fight this cycle of poverty or start to deter this cycle of poverty, it's going to be through education. And later I want to reflect on your conclusions.
Okay.
But we feel like the Scholar House will better afford opportunity for these single moms and dads to attain a bachelor's degree. And as Governor Patton often states, it is the gold standard in education. And we know that it will transform the Commonwealth, because each bachelor degree is worth $1 million more than a high school degree. So and that's statistically proven. And so, one, it affects the tax base, but also the children of these moms and dads. They see their parents earning a college degree, and then it motivates them to want to do the same. So that's where the cycle of poverty starts to decrease and break down and end, hopefully.
So when will the Scholar House actually be up and running?
Construction should be completed at late November.
Okay.
We will move the first cohort, if you will, in sometime November, December-ish, and those students will actually be enrolled at the University of Pikeville. Bachelors, they will all be bachelor seeking. So we're very excited about the opportunity.
Well, helping people to connect and to stay engaged with education is what it's about, this report shows. Education plays the key and critical role in each of these areas. Someone who helped our office stay connected when tornadoes ravaged the eastern part of the state was Appalachian Wireless. And I think it turned into Danny. We heard comments from our city manager, from Donovan. You heard them from the governor. You heard them from the county judge about the ability for people to know what's going on via the use of social media. In this day and age where everybody here that has a cell phone, raise your hand. Everybody here that might have an iPad, raise your hand. You know, the list can go on and on and on. In the day and age of technology, studies have shown that people have become more isolated. We have more free time, but what are we doing with that free time? We're focusing on our personal handheld devices as opposed to engaging in the community. So the question that's out there is technology increasing or decreasing our ability to connect with one another? And I want to hear from those that are in the audience. And speaking of technology, someone calling right now to chime in about it. So Danny, you obviously helped the Secretary of State's office bring a mobile business office to Morgan County, to the areas affected by the tornadoes last year. We truly appreciate your help and support. We were able to do work in a remote location because Appalachian Wireless gave us the hotspots we needed to be able to communicate back in Frankfurt. It allowed us to not only help advise people about elections, we had an upcoming election, where they would vote, how they would vote, update their registration, but also to work on their business filings because, again, business filings were approaching at that time. Danny, in your view, is technology increasing or decreasing our ability to connect and to engage?
Well, I think it's certainly increasing and has increased over the last few years, and there's no limit to what it will continue to do. For example, we are at the company I work for, been blessed to work at Appalachian Wireless for 14 years. We pride ourselves on being the innovator to bringing these world-class technologies to the mountains. It's kind of how we look at it on a daily basis. 165 plus employees strong, work diligently, to make sure that, if there is a wireless technology out there, at least if we don't have it, we're working toward it. We're in the middle of a soft launch at this point. No major rollout at this point. We're still in the soft launch portion of a 4G launch here in southeast Kentucky. And for example, right now US 23 from Pike County to Boyd County is covered with 4G technology with Appalachian Wireless. And you're talking about download speeds in the mid-30s on a consistent basis and upload speeds in the teens. And that's obviously the mountains are beautiful, and we pride ourselves with being part of this region, but they can bring challenges when you're trying to provide those technologies, but something that we want to overcome. So 214 towers in our territory. We have 34 that are currently 4G. Facebook, Twitter, about 3 years ago, Appalachian Wireless reached a level where more people were sending texts and using data sessions than talking voice minutes. So, it is evolving here, and our people are on Facebook and Twitter and text messages and things of that nature. Years ago, we didn't do 1 million texts in a month. Now we do several million in a day. So, that's sometimes difficult to wrap your mind around, but that's the world we live in, and certainly the technology is here. I've always thought that, Walt Disney is known for It's a Small World, and this technology has made it even smaller. What's going on. Now the bombings, for example, unfortunate situation in Boston the other day. Twitter and Facebook was well ahead of the news media, and so that's where your information is coming from today, and that's those kinds of things. Our people here have access to the same same kind of information. You know, we talk about, you know, when I was growing up, don't want to date myself here, but I was the remote. You know, I would stand at the TV and change it until Dad figured out what channel he wanted to watch. You know, today, you don't even have to have the TV to get all this information per se. You know, obviously it's, you know, it's important, but that's the world we live in, and certainly we're proud to be a part of that. And I think technology-wise, it's only going to continue to increase. And young man, before you leave, I don't mean to call you out there, but not a problem, and I'll be brief. But you know, I want to say this to you. I appreciate your comments, and not only in my private sector employment, I serve the University of Pikeville as its board, and I would challenge you to do this. You mentioned all of the things that we need to know. And I'll bet you that if you would go to the administration office, you might be the person that gets to head up a committee to make sure everybody is in the know. So, you know, one of the things to being able to change the world is to understand what the problems are, and you've identified the problems. So who better to lead that charge? So I challenge you to get involved. You can make a difference. You certainly.
We can't just say, oh, this is good, so we can be complacent. We can't.
That's right, and you don't have to just always say the thing that you think they want to hear. They need to know the things that I can assure you that on behalf of the administration, Dr. Hurley and Governor Patton, you know, I can assure you that they need to hear the negatives just the same as they need to hear the positives, because you can't fix what you don't know about.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So those that are here in the audience, has technology increased or decreased your ability to connect? We're the 8th most rural state in the nation, and obviously Appalachian Wireless is doing their best. You've got UPIKE TV here today, which we want to thank them for helping to broadcast this, to really connect people with the conversation beyond the 4 walls of this room. Has it increased or decreased your ability to connect and be engaged? Yes, sir, in the back.
I think that as a former student of the University of Pikeville, and I was here for the change up between Pikeville College to the university, I believe that volunteerism has increased on the campus, and if given the opportunity and moving forward, it will eventually be like the University of Kentucky. To address your question on social media and that kind of thing, I think with Facebook and their event pages and Twitter and hashtagging, I think it's a lot easier to raise funds that way. Websites such as GoFundMe.com and that kind of stuff, it really increases volunteerism. So it's not as much as going door to door to raise funds, but you're reaching a broader audience at a faster pace.
Danny mentioned it's a small world. Do you think technology helps us to stay connected on a larger scale with what's going on around the world, but perhaps does it help us have the personal interactions with our next door neighbor?
I believe so. Are you Facebook friends with your next door neighbor?
Well, I have a lot of likes, so I would say probably so. But my neighborhood's a small neighborhood, so beyond Facebook, we have a neighborhood association that I belong to.
Right, so you're getting both sides of it. And I think here, you know, our next door neighbor might be 2 miles up the hollow, so we connect via Facebook or texting or something like that. And I don't think you lose anything in translation between a text and face-to-face.
Guys on this side of the room, is technology increasing or decreasing your ability to connect? Yes, sir. Stand up.
Well, I think technology is increasing, like the way that we volunteer. As he mentioned with the Pike County Tourism, I volunteer there and with adding events around Pike County, and I also I worked for the homeless shelter, and just doing things like that. It allows me as a representative for the Criminal Justice Society to connect with other students in the department itself, to let them know what we want to do to become a better program at the university. And a way that I can talk to them and communicate with them is through like the technology, like you were saying, because it's easier to communicate with them instead of being face to face.
Tell your name again?
Christopher Price.
Christopher, thank you for the work that you're doing. And thank you for standing up. So we're having just a few minutes before we have to close out political action. We've got many elected officials up here on the panel, several in the audience. If you're an elected official, will you raise your hand for us, please? We'd like to thank everybody. I know representatives. This report, education again, it plays a role whether you'll register to vote, whether you translate and actually participate on Election Day, whether you will stay in touch with your elected officials after the fact. Those that are under 30 years old, I will tell you that are here in the room, the pundits said in this last general election that you were the lost generation because of technology, Facebooking, texting, tweeting, chatting, that you wouldn't show up at the polls. I didn't take that bet. I actually bet on you. I said you would show up, and you proved them and helped to support the bet that I made right. You increased your percentage point, albeit by 1, in participation this past election. So, Representative Leslie Combs, you have youngsters, you have a constituency that you're constantly trying to keep motivated in this process. How do you do it?
Basically, you can't communicate, and when I say communicate, I mean one-on-one in person with your constituents and everyone out there. And probably that's what I like most about the job I've got, is being able to do that, because it does connect you with those individuals and what they're thinking, what they're concerned about, what their issues are, and I think it's very, very important. Something I pride myself on and said when I got elected some 7 years ago is that anyone and everyone who calls me, sends me a message, whether it be by email, and today, yes, whether it be by a tweet or by Facebook or whatever, that I would respond to those individuals. Now, I won't say that 100% have been responded to, but the only reason they haven't been responded to is because somehow I didn't get it, okay? Because, and I also think it's very, very important how quickly we respond to those individuals. And usually I try to get something back to them, either somebody connected back with them, whether it be myself, someone else, depending on what their issue is, within 48 hours. Because they need to know that, that we do care about their concerns and that we are addressing them. Let me say something real quick. Secretary Grimes, thank you very much. I want to applaud your efforts on creating these civic roundtables all across the state, because these issues are very, very important, I think, as we've discussed right here today. Let me say one little side thing that I'm very, very proud of Secretary Grimes, and I know several others are, of what she's accomplished in her short tenure thus far as Secretary of State. We have high expectations that she's going to accomplish even greater things. So so there's your challenge.
No
Keep doing what you're
pressure.
doing.
Thank you, Representative. No pressure.
But no. And I think that's something that my fellow legislators and other elected officials share as well, is the fact that it is so important, because something I've constantly used, the phrase I've used from day one, from the very beginning I started into this career path of elected office, and that is, we work for you, okay? That is something that so many, I think, politicians along the way forget how they got there. And the way we got there is the people who elected us. Isn't that why we ran? Isn't that why we sought public office? Was to serve people. So what the people need, what they want, what their issues are, what concerns their life, their quality of life, that's what our job is to help them with those issues and to work for them. So that's why I'm constantly saying in everything I do, we work for you, okay? We are your servant in this business. So that's, I constantly reinforce that, and I constantly remind my fellow colleagues who are elected officials that that's what you're here to do, is to serve the people and what their needs are. And it's very, very important that we constantly communicate with you. You know, the gentleman, we've talked about Christopher bringing up such an important issue, and opinions. Yes. In our area, we have people anymore who they get very, very personal about issues, because I think it deeply affects a lot of people. But I think that we should always remember that it is healthy to have a difference of opinion, a different idea, a different approach to something, and that all those ideas and all those opinions should be considered in how we go about accomplishing things or how we go about solving issues. Another point I want to make is, you know, when you get it down to volunteerism and various organizations and and who all is involved with those different organizations. Kay, my husband always said to me, back before I got into political office, he said, could you find a board that pays? You know, because you're constantly serving on all these boards, and there's, you know, I said, no, honey, that's what we're supposed to be doing. So that's how we contribute back. But a lot of times, a lot of good individuals are not considered for a lot of these organizations because we don't open our arms up enough to include them. And I think we need to get more, we need to expand our vision even more about who all can become involved with these groups and these organizations, and making sure that we bring all of the mindsets, all the ideals to the table. So it gets around that idea of it's inclusive. Everyone ought to be involved, whether it be on their own, but sometimes they need to be, we need to open our arms to make sure they feel included in the process.
Thank you, Representative. Dr. Hurley, I know that you wanted to offer some comments on the conclusions that are on the last page of that report.
Page 20.
Page 20.
But let me first start by saying thank you. I know Jason Belcher and other former military personnel applaud your efforts in leading the initiative and bringing it to the forefront of our legislators to ensure that our military personnel has the ability to vote, kind of the lost voice, if you will. And I know that's something that you championed along with other people, but you, I think, took that bull by the horn, so to speak. And I appreciate that, and I know a lot of other people. And I think we need to give our secretary a big hand for that. On page 20, if you'll notice, I see the word education or educate 4 times. So that's critically important to keep in the back of our minds that it's about education. And sometimes awareness comes out of education. And talking about funding higher education, well, it's part of our job as institutional leaders to ensure that we are embedding more service learning into the curriculum. And I think that's something that all of us at the higher educational and also the P-12 level, we need to start embedding that into the curriculum. And Danny Van Hoos on connecting, the ability for technology to connect people. I want to see the divorce rates 10 years from now, because I argue the fact that texting has saved my marriage. You can check in without having to check in. And so
I'm not going to tell your wife that.
No, she knows that. But
now she'll see it on TV.
Well,
it's all right.
Hopefully she already knows. But
and with your children.
Well, the ability to check in, the ability to connect with others. We have a cohort of students in Beijing, China, that our ESL students were able to collaborate with and partner with and share ideas this year via Skype, via technology. That's a powerful world we live in because of technology. And I just want to thank you so much for this work. It's a great work, and much needed, and we appreciate your efforts.
Well, like Senate Bill 1, which was passed this past session, midnight, the last one of the last bills passed before the legislators departed from Frankfurt. On behalf of our military, it's a first step. It's hopefully not the last step. And that's what this Civic Health Index is about, too. It's a first step. It's hopefully not the last step. One thing that Dr. Hurley brought up, and Governor, I want you to have the last word on this, given your time, not just in state government, but your work in education. Civics education is not a requirement in our schools. Should it be?
Yeah, I think so, and that's a great big subject that we don't have time to get into. But let me, again, thank you for being here in Pikeville, and thank you for this effort to remind all of us, as I said to start with, it's not enough to complain. You got to get involved. It's up to us. If we don't do it, it's not going to be done.
So in one word, I'm assuming everyone on the panel registered to vote, yes? That's a big assumption. I'm assuming also everyone on the panel voted in this last election, yes? Yes. And those that are in, we won't pick on the front row. I picked on the guys in the front row enough. Second row, everyone's registered to vote. Raise your right hand. Now I hope that left hand's going to raise too, because you're going to tell me you voted in this last election. Is that 100% in that row? Okay, so second row, you guys stand up for me, and in one word, why you voted. And after we get through with you, the panelist, in one word. That's the rule. One word. And if you go over one word, fail. Governor Patton is going to give you an F. So if you will, and we will start to the right, left-hand side of the room. Yes, ma'am. And if you guys want to stand up and tell us in one word why you voted.
Because I take very seriously being a leader. So my one word is
Leader. I like it. You didn't fail. Leader. I like it.
accountability.
Accountability.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Duty.
Duty.
Leadership.
Leadership.
My mother.
Mother.
My mother.
Mother.
Military.
Military.
Change.
Change.
Pride.
Pride. Juanita.
Leadership.
Leadership.
It matters.
Matters.
Responsibility.
Involvement.
Passion.
Freedom.
Accountability.
Grandmothers.
Responsible.
Leadership.
Liberty.
Faith.
Ownership.
Ownership. On that note, I want to thank everybody for being here today, especially the panelists and those in the audience. You didn't realize how much participation you were probably getting yourself into by walking through that door. This is just the beginning. I hope that you will leave us with some words on the back of that card. Matthew Daly, I want to thank him. He is my Director of Civics Education to help to coordinate with UPIKE to be here today. Y'all please give Matthew a round. He's done 15 of these. He will be there at the door on your way out to make sure to collect those cards. And thank you all very, very much. I look forward to the work that we will do together.
Very good.